and welcome everybody to the Annegret Welcome Mat Podcast, where we connect people and build community. I'm Annegret, and this is my first podcast with my very first guest, voice vocal coach Lynn, recording artist and songwriter. And I'm so excited to have her in the studio. Her new CD, her new website is Voice Mastery. Hello, Lynn, and how are you tonight?
Hi, I'm wonderful, Annegret. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so glad to have you. So, Lynn, you're from Long Island, New York, but now you're residing in Southern California. And how is the change there for you?
Oh, I love it. I moved here for the weather and the nice people. And not that there's not nice people in New York, because I love my New York community. But I needed a change and I love it here. And I'm always glad to be here.
Perfect. So, when was the first time that you knew you wanted to be a singer-songwriter?
I would say at age 3, I knew that I wanted to sing. My dad taught me how to sing on key, and we would sing duets together. And he really got me started with the singing. And then when I was about 10 years old, I started writing poems. And then when I was 12, I wrote my first song and I began playing guitar. So I really began to listen to more artists that were songwriters, and I was really interested in the writing as well.
Amazing. So, who was your biggest influence growing up in music?
So many influences, so many. I've always loved to listen to Karen Carpenter. She was one of my favorite singers of all time, as well as Gladys Knight. I liked Chaka Khan. I loved like Jim Croce as a songwriter, as well as what's his name? I forgot his name now. John Denver. How could I ever even attempt to forget his name? One of the finest songwriters of all time. And so I really loved listening to great songs. And as a teenager, my ear would be to the radio constantly. I always really felt that the artists were singing to me, and that they, that I knew somebody knew how I felt, and that was really important to me. So music has been a very integral part of my life and as a person. So it's authentically made its way into my life, and I'm very happy to be continuing to do music.
That is amazing. I really like hearing that. So you've been performing in some pretty big places. You've performed in the Nashville Grand Ole Opry. You've performed in New York in the Radio City Music Hall. I mean, those things are just, those must have been incredible experiences. Can you tell us a little bit more about those experiences?
Oh, sure. Well, Radio City Music Hall is like the heart and soul of New York City, as well as Carnegie Hall. And when I played Radio City, I was at the ESPY Awards show with my artist that I was singing background for. Her name is Kathy Mattea, and she's a country recording artist. And we were one of the bands to play, and it was just amazing just to look out and see all my favorite artists in the audience. They were like in the first 10 rows, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe it. There's this person, there's that person. Oh my gosh, I'm here. I can't believe I'm here. This is the most amazing, or one of the most amazing times of my life. And then when I was, with Kathy Mattea, we also did a WSM radio show, which was filmed at the Grand Ole Opry. And it was amazing because just to be a part of that radio show. WSM is such a nostalgic radio show. It's been around forever, and a lot of famous people have been interviewed on that on their shows, and it was amazing just to be a part of that and stand on that Grand Ole Opry stage, which is such a big part of our heritage in America, as well as Nashville and the music scene. So it was so amazing just to be a part of that. I'm so grateful.
So right now you're teaching you're a vocal coach. You also teach people how to speak. So what are some of the takeaways that you learned when you were touring and you're on the road? What do you impart to your students? What are some of the takeaways that you feel that are so important for your students to know?
Well, having a wide range of musical experience and also like a lot of stage work. I was the one of the lead singers for the Glenn Miller Orchestra, so I've had a lot of different experiences as well as some shows. And so I think the versatility, I would say, is something that I like to pour into my students. I like to make it real and relevant for them, as far as just letting them know exactly how it is, how it feels. Some of the values that I've learned along the way is one of them is like being punctual. I know musicians and singers, we get a bad rap sometimes of not being on time, and they always say, "Oh, well, you're late, you must be on musician time," and I'm like, well, there's a lot of musicians and artists that are on time, and I learned that value, and that it's not really a skill, but I learned the value of that. And just mastering your craft, being comfortable in your skin as an artist, making it real for yourself so that it becomes real for the audience. And as far as a technical aspect of singing, I teach a method. I teach my favorite method to teach is speech level singing, which is belting, and but from a very talking standpoint. So what that gives the student is it really gives them the opportunity to make something that could seem very unnatural, like singing or doing something like we think we have to do something else with our voice, but we really don't have to. But I like making it really natural for them and using their own voice, their own speaking voice, and building the singing voice on that. Because sometimes as singers, when we're performing, we're thinking, how do I get to that note? How do I get down from that place? And we can end up in our own heads a lot of the time and kind of in our own cerebral journey, and we're not really connecting with our audiences. But what I like to focus with my students, which I find most valuable, is teaching them this method that allows them to be themselves, as far as their own speaking voice, their own singing voice, and come from that standpoint, rather than, oh, I'm gonna, I want to sing like Ariana Grande, or I want to sing like Adele, or I want to sing like this person or that. Singing from your own person is more valuable and more important, and then it allows you to be yourself. And then you can connect better with your audience as well. And I think if with the speaking method that I teach, it really helps students connect well, because it's a more natural way of singing, and just from a technical standpoint, than trying to do something that's unnatural. So I really, really, really encourage all my students to, it's kind of like you wear the song, you wrap it around you, you become the song. You can step into that little circle that you make for yourself, that's your own safe place, and when you're ready, you start your song, you sing from that place. So there's a wealth of information that comes from performing and singing, because the old acting phrases that they say, like, well, don't act. The best actors are the ones that aren't acting. They're being themselves in that part. And it's the same thing with singing. We want to make it real and relevant, and we want to make it as natural as possible. And then we're doing what we're meant to be doing, because it's not like the songs out here and where we have to sing that song. No, that song is singing us, and we're joining with that song as if that song has never been sung before. So that's how I like to teach my students the art of doing that, going beyond typical performance and stepping into your own interpretation and identity within the music that you're presenting to make it real. So it's much more than just, vocal performance, technical ability. It's a lot more than that.
Amazing. How old is your youngest student?
My youngest student, this was amazing. She was 3 years old and she came to me, her dad brought her, and she had this amazing, beautiful little Disney voice. And she was singing, like from Beauty and the Beast. And she had such a beautiful little voice. And I looked at her and I thought, oh, that's what I used to do. But of course, she sang better than I did when I was 3. She was just amazing. And so she was my youngest vocal student. And then my oldest student was in his 80s and he just wanted to come in, and he loved like the crooners and Frank Sinatra and Tony Bennett and Andy Williams, and he wanted to sing those songs. So to me, there's no age in music, there's no age in art, there's no age in singing. Wherever you're at, you can be who you are in the beauty of the musical expression. And and it's just a great place to be. So I encourage people from all ages, all genres, and all skill levels to give it a try, because it is a beautiful way of expressing yourself.
You also teach that nutrition and exercise and lifestyle is important to the singer. So can you tell us a little bit more about how important that is and why?
Sure. For those who are more serious singers, strong body, strong voice. Hydration, water, drinking water, staying hydrated. Certain singers have allergies, so of course you would stay away from the foods that would cause you those allergies, or a lot of milk products on the day that you're singing is probably not a good idea. Lots of sugar while you're performing is not a good idea. Because, you think about it, if it's something that's going to affect your digestion, or something that's going to affect your sinuses, or something that's going to affect your overall feeling or overall health, it's going to affect you vocally as well, because the little vocal cords that sit right here, they're little, and they're going to be affected by everything if you don't have enough sleep, if you don't if you don't eat the right foods, if you're eating a lot of fried foods, if we're trashing our bodies, basically, we're going to trash our voice, because it's not just the chords that are working, but it's the energy levels of the singer. It's the energy level of your body. Certain songs take a lot more energy to sing, a lot more stamina to sing. So, I try to teach more holistically with my students, hey, stay hydrated, get enough sleep, especially on performance days. If you need 8 hours, 10 hours of sleep, get it. Don't risk it getting on stage and being exhausted. If you're really super serious, you're going to carve your lifestyle around what you're doing. You're not going to go out partying late at night. You're not going to do certain lifestyles if you really want to keep your voice healthy. And if you want to be, fully present in the moment when you're performing, you have to kind of do a lot of self-care, eat right, exercise, build your body up, to build your mind up, give yourself some extra time to kind of wind down and go out in nature, take walks, read a book, do something different than music. Sometimes we need to have that. So yeah, it's all there, I mean, from the minute you get up in the morning to the minute you go to sleep. If you're really super serious, yeah, you're gonna carve your day around, and your week and your habits around what you're doing and what you want to achieve.
So what are your next big goals towards the end of the year, next year? What is on your plate?
Well, I'm very excited about my new website, which will be going up soon. It's called, I have to look at it because I want to make sure I get it right. the voice mastery, because it's not just about singing, but it's about how you present yourself as a speaker, embodying some vocal inflections in the way you talk. You can give a little bit of a smile to get those higher notes, and then you talk lower. And so there's different things that a person can do for that. So I'm teaching a lot on presentations as well as voice and piano. And I'm expanding that as well, as far as helping people who want to, get started with their podcast, to, the technical aspects of all of that and what you need for what level you want to start at, what it might cost, and all the how to do's and the technical things that it takes to make your presentation what you want it to be. And so I'm excited about that. It's a new adventure for me, as well as I'm very excited also about my personal music endeavors. I'm recording with a duo, which is called Lynn and Marcos, and we were recognized by Billboard Music and Sound upon the release of our song called For America. And you can find us on YouTube at Lynn and Marcos Music, LYN and Marcos Music, and YouTube or .com. We are on Spotify as well. So we're really excited about that. It's a new project for me. So I think it's really important to stay relevant as a mentor,
Right.
to always continue to do the art form, to stay out there and perform and record and produce music, write music, network with other people in music and stay relevant in that world. I think it's really important, even as a mentor, to have to bring that to the table as well. So I'm really excited for this coming year. Looking forward to great things.
That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
So for the listeners out there that want to start a podcast or want to learn how to speak on a podcast, or even start singing, tell us again how we can find you, how the listeners can contact you. And you are now giving lessons via Zoom and over the air, so you can reach anybody anywhere now. Is that correct?
That is correct. A lot of what we do in this day and age is going to cross many borders. So it's exciting that we can use technology and get ourselves out there and what we do. And I'm very excited that it does work well on Zoom to teach and to mentor, and even what we're doing right here with the podcasting. It's wonderful that we get to do that. It takes all the limits off. So my website should be going up within the next week or two, and it's called thevoicemastery.com.
Okay.
If you need to contact me, you can always reach me on my email at my email address, lynn@lynnsong.com. It's LYNN at LYNNSONG.com. And you can reach me there. And so if anybody would like to give singing a try, or you would like some advice on how to get yourself started on podcasting, or how to improve your speaking voice, I'd love to help you.
That sounds awesome. So I'm so glad to interview you tonight.
Thank you.
And I hope to have you on my podcast again sometime soon in the near future, when you have your website up, and just to check in with you and to see how things are going. I would really enjoy that. Thank you so much.
I would enjoy that as well. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you, Annegret. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so
So
much.
very much.
Have a good night.